Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This would be the last two boards in the same direction cannons section. Today we will be dealing with a new opening system, the same direction cannons, deferred chariot variation versus file chariot variation. So without further ado, let us begin. Same direction cannons. And instead of playing R1 equals to 2 for the file chariot or R1 plus 1 for the deferred chariot, red will play P3 plus 1 instead of developing the chariot, which is usually done. So this would be known as the deferred chariot variation. Now, this is quite a new opening system in the same direction cannons, the evolution of the same direction cannons. Now, with this move, red would choose to prepare to develop his horse and also limit and prevent black from playing p7 plus 1. And in some ways, this would prevent black from playing the deferred chariot variation. And since red did not play r1 equals to 2, black would usually play r9 equals to 8, which is very commonly seen to take control of this file. Red would then develop his left horse, and black would do likewise. Now, other options in the past included p3 plus 1, but this outcome was unsatisfactory because if p3 plus 1 was played to limit this horse, this cannon would now be ready to play c8 plus 4 to attack and also prevent the horse from further development, thus giving this chariot an open line. And red would have the initiative at hand, and he will usually develop this chariot as a ranked chariot. So red would have a very playable game. The cannon would now be limiting the black horse and also attacking the elephant. So black would have his hands full. So that is why h2 plus 3 is played. And since black did not push p3 plus 1, red will play p7 plus 1 for the double-headed snake pawns. This would be one of the common variations, one of the common positions seen in this opening system, and it would also be the position of discussion for today's board and the next board. So with the double-headed snake pawns, we can see that red had not developed his chariot by the 5th ply, and black would have developed at least one chariot, and the pace of the game would have slowed down considerably, and it is of utmost importance for red to try to control the pace of the game. So this would be the position of discussion, and there are two main variations that were discussed in the book. In the first board, black would play r1 plus 1. In the next board, c2 equals to 1 is advocated, and this would be the position of discussion for this board. So at this point in time, red would have two ways of dealing with the situation. The first would be to play r9 equals to r9 plus 1, and the other would be to play c9 equals to 8 to develop his left flank. So, but before we continue, if black would usually play r1 equals to 1. This is a commonly used tactic to deal with the double-headed snake pawns, whereby black would try to move one of the chariots to the riverbank and then trade pawns to develop his horses. Now, if black played r8 equals to 2, red would be more than happy to play r1 equals to 2 to offer a trade of chariots. Now, if black accepted the trade of chariots, he would have lost a move. In terms of momentum, his horses would still be trapped. So that is why r8 plus 4 is not so commonly played now. And instead r1 plus 1 would be played, so forcing red to decide what to do with his chariot. Later on, if red played r1 equals to 2, black would be more than happy because this would result in a loss of tempo for red. So in variation A, red will counter with a ranked chariot against black's ranked chariot. And now black will play r9 equals to 8. Now another option would be to play r1 equals to 4, and red will link both his chariots up, and black would now attack r4 plus 5. Now it would still not be a good idea to play r8 plus 4 because black would now be prepared to trade chariots. If black refused, we can see that both colors will be fighting very strongly for this control of this rib file. Now this happens to be one of the games played by Grandmaster Hu Ronghua versus Grandmaster Li Laiqun. And after trading chariots, because red had pushed both pawns, the development of the black horses would be a major issue, and red would have a huge advantage ahead. So that is why I+4 is not usually seen, and instead it would be a better idea for black to push r4 equals to 6 to try to harass the horse over here. Again, black tries to trade chariots with r1 equals to 6. Of course, black would refuse, otherwise he would have used up 1, 2, 3, 4 moves to trade chariots, resulting in a loss of 10 pi. And black would play r9 equals to 7. Now this position might seem awkward, but if you have seen the earlier boards on black's double-headed snake pawns, how he dealt with it, this would be a slight change of the colors. So black would then play r8 equals to 4. Black retreats the horse, offering a trade of chariots and later targeting this file, r3 plus 2. And this will be a standoff situation, but red would have a slight lead. Black would still have trouble trying to develop his pieces. So r8 plus 4, and red still would offer a trade of chariots for steadfast approach. Now because r1 equals to 2 have been played, red cannot play r1 plus 1 and continue with the lines that was discussed above. So if red tried to control this file with r9 equals to 6, black would now realize his plans of trading pawns, and black would, faced with red attacking, black can always consider retreating the cannon. Another possibility would be to play e2 plus 4, where if red played, say for example, black would be prepared to attack. So if you captured, black would be more than happy to sacrifice material, check, and red would now be attacking this flank, and although black would have sacrificed material, the offense over here would be terrible, and red would have a hard time. So r2 equals to 1, r6 equals to 7. Black would now protect the horse with his chariot, preparing to play c2 equals to 3 and formulate an attack on this file. Bring a trade of chariots, and black will play r9, refusing to trade chariots, because if red offered a trade of chariots, he would have lost tempo. Now, either way, this would be a very complicated situation, but one thing is for sure, red will have a hard time trying to gain control, and this would be quite characteristic of same direction cannons. So r1 equals to 2 would be a more steadfast approach. Black would offer a trade of material, command this line, 2 plus 3, r4 plus 5. Now because there's only one chariot left, this horse would be a issue that red must address. So black's aggressiveness was his way of trying to gain a situation where both colors would be attacking now. But perhaps r4 plus 3 would be a more steadfast approach, whereby black would trade pawns and develop his horses. So r8 minus 1, red would do something similar, and red would have the initiative because now he would have switched his formation, preparing to play e7 plus 5 to dislodge the chariot and attack. So red would have the initiative at this point in time. So this would be variation A. Now let us go to variation B. C8 equals to 9, whereby instead of developing the rank chariot, red would opt for the 3-step tiger and develop his left chariot. r8 plus 4, r9 equals to 8, targeting the cannon, and even possibly r8 plus 6 to attack the horse. Plus 1, black immediately trades his trades pawns to for development of his right horse. Red attacks, c2 minus 1. Now this would be a very resilient counter. Now if black chose to capture the pawn, this would become a very complicated situation. Red would now play r9, r8 equals to 7, threaten the horse, retreat, attack, defend, capture and defend. Red will also switch formations, move his elephant away in time. And now the elephants are linked, and red will have the initiative. So black will have the issue of the centroid horse to deal with. So c2 minus 1 will be much more resilient. Attack, protect, trade, refuse to trade, and red would now charge his horse to across the river to attack. r4 plus 1. Again, red would double down his attack. Okay, counter attacking, counter capturing. c7 equals to 8, and red attempts a skewer. So if red captured the cannon, after capturing the horse, defense, and black would suddenly have the initiative firmly in hand because both chariots have been developed. The horse was attacking the cannon, and these two chariots will be a huge issue that red must deal with. So by attacking the cannon, a possible move would be to play r4 equals to 7 to attack the horse. So depending on where the cannon would move, black would have the advantage. He could also attack the pawn here or trade material, etc. So c7 equals to 8 to attack. r2 equals to 4. Black counters very nicely, threatening to checkmate with the double chariots. c8 equals to 6. Red offers the cannon, which is pseudo sacrifice to resolve this checkmate threat. It showed that red had already anticipated black's attack. So after trading, black would first defend, threaten to dislodge the chariot, forcing the chariot back. Now, black cannot try to make this move to protect his horse. Otherwise, after trading material, red would have gained an advisor in the process, and red would have the advantage because now his chariots are not very well positioned, and once black would have a hard time deciding on what to do. If he captured, red would attack, capture the elephant for a check, and red's defenses will be halved. So there will be only one advisor, one elephant left, and of course red would have the initiative in this situation. So that is why r plus equals to 2 is not a good idea. So r4 minus 2, pseudo sacrifice, and black would double down his attack on the central file. There's always a threat of a iron bolt checkmate. So black would have the slight advantage in this situation if c8 equals to 9 were played. So let us have a quick review of this board from the eyes of black. Okay, same direction cannons. Deferred variation, deferred chariot versus foul chariot, and p3 plus 1 is not a good idea at this point. Otherwise, red will get to develop his material. This cannon would pose a lot of problems for black. p7 plus 1, r1 plus 1. This would be the first spot whereby black would develop his right chariot as a ranked chariot. Now, if r8 plus 4, red will offer a trade of material, and black cannot realize his plans of trading pawns. So r9 plus 1, black counters, and this will be the position of discussion for the first spot. Two variations, r8 plus 4 and r1 equals to 4. And before I continue, if red played c8 if black chose to play r8 plus 4, again, the trade of chariots, okay. variation A. Alright, +4 to try to trade pawns. Another option will be the R1 equals to 4 variation. It will be a standoff situation. Red will have a slight lead, but black will still have a very playable game. Sorry. R1 equals to 2 to offer a trade of chariots. Black accepts. The situation will now be diffused, and black would try to draw first blood by pushing the chariot across the river. Red defends in this manner, and red would have initiative as he would be prepared to play and play the elephant to dislodge the chariot and adjust his formation. Sorry, over here. Variation B, C8 equals to 9 to try to develop his left chariot as a foul chariot. Black moves to the river bank. And this will be a very resilient counter. P3 + 1 is not a good idea because it will lead to a very complicated position. Because red will be able to retreat his chariot, protect his horse, adjust his formation in the nick of time. And red will have the initiative as he will gain tempo in this situation. C equals to 7. Protect, refusing to trade. If black traded, the pawn will cross the river and all hell will break loose. So, red continues his attack with this external rip horse. Black tries to double down and gain material by capturing the horse by force, and black would choose to trade material. If he captured, black would capture the horse, forcing the horse to move and moving the horse away. Now this is a very nice move. By moving the horse here, black would now have the option of playing R2 equals to 4. That is why but red had this anticipated, and he would play C7 equals to 9 for an intermediate move. If he chose to capture, black would now attack. He will have the advantage firmly in hand. This would be a very weak flank, and red will be in all sorts of trouble. R2 equals to 4 to threaten to checkmate. Of course, black can only pseudo sacrifice, but this was already anticipated. Dislodging the chariot, upping the defense, forcing the chariot away. If black tried to a material, this horse will now wreak havoc and capture the advisor in place. So now the elephant, the chariot will also be threatened with capture, etc. And red will have the advantage. 7, and black will double down, hoping to capture the central pawn and go for the iron bolt. So black would have the slight advantage in this situation. So one thing to note about the deferred variation, no matter which deferred variation you're talking about, the pace of the game will be considerably slower than the traditional ranked chariot versus foul chariot or foul chariot versus ranked chariot variations. This would allow players a little bit more, especially red, a little bit more control over the situation, and if the actual attack or actual battle would take place often slightly later on as compared to the traditional sim direction cannons. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video. If you like the work that I've been doing, please do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.